Okay, I'd like to say hello to all the Facebook message who are tuning in for this, hopefully, presumably. It's our little London memorial service for the incomparably great Muhammad Ali. I need hardly say that we're congregated here today to pay our last respects and celebrate the life of a man who quite simply had just an incandescent effect on humanity, globally. Talk about him purely as a fighter to begin with, although, as George Foreman pointed out, limiting his legacy to that description is clearly an injustice, but sometimes people like to say that because of the mythology surrounding the man and the immense level of fame he had, that sometimes he's overrated as a pugilist. If anything, I don't know what you think, Spence, I think quite the opposite is true. And I think with the huge amount of socio-political significance that the man had, I think sometimes it makes people forget just how great a fighter he was. You want anything to add on that? I just want to know if we're going to do this like that in the spirit, or I'll just keep going.
If you want to keep on going, then we stop, then we can do
we mix and match, right? Ebony Ivory, yeah? So, I think for me, when you look at how mercurially brilliant he was even as an 18-year-old in the Rome Olympics, beating a very experienced former medalist Pole in the final, beating four opponents. It was Sugar Ray Leonard who got 6, even though he didn't even know that, you know, when we spoke. But yeah, you know, and I think in his 7th fight he was fighting a guy who was 44-1 with 43 KOs. 44-1-1, Lamar Clark. And interestingly, if anyone can find a video of that one, please let me know, because I can't find it anywhere. There's a fight on there, YouTube.
You only fought one time after that fight, though, innit?
Lamar Clark, he pretty much finished him. I mean, the thing is, when you've got a guy with 43 knockouts out of 44 fights, imagine that today down your hall.
It would never happen.
And I don't care if you fought 44 truck drivers.
You can do 100 tickets. You can do 100 tickets, you put one. It will never happen. You'll pick your opponents.
Yeah, so clearly Ali's socio-political significance started principally as a result. He was a symbol for uplifting the downtrodden black man, the downtrodden black person in America, and he stood up for his people in that regard. But by the kind of height of the 60s counterculture, he was also pretty much the man and the toaster for hippie crowd and the white celebrity crowd as well. So basically, there came a point by 1967 when you only hated Ali if you were a white conservative wanker, more or less. And we can say that because we're not in a church today, we're in Speaker's Corner. But
Gary Logan's just trying to...
Gary Logan's just called
Gary.
Is he going to... Gary Logan is a former... He's a former WBU champion, yeah. People know what I think about the belts, and I'm going to be started. Second, he won it. He lost the WBU title challenge to Takalu, and he was Southern Area champion because he beat. I feel we digress. So, although Ali is said to have embraced the Nation of Islam as it was at the time, in 1964 was when it got all that publicity, and famously he announced a name change immediately after beating Sonny Liston. It was a massive upset. It was 7-1. You get 7-1 against him. There was 66 experts polled and only 63. Only 3 of them picked Ali.
Only 3 of them picked him,
including one with Willie Pastrano.
And Ali used to beat out Willie Pastrano.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, this is a point I wanted to make about Ali's fisting brilliance. The thing is, although there were precursors stylistically like a Gene Tunney or a Willie Peck or Billy Conn, he was better and faster than all those guys.
Better reflex.
And he revolutionised the sport in a way. I mean, I know personally, my own sort of relationship with Ali is I can't imagine ever having started boxing if it wasn't for Ali. I think this was Junior. But no, so with Ali, I think it's known in actual fact that he embraced the Nation of Islam and the kind of black freedom fighting cause a lot earlier than that. He initially went into a temple in 1960. Where he met a guy who was selling him the Muhammad Speaks newspaper. So I think Ali was actually radicalised a lot sooner than we might imagine. It didn't suddenly happen in 1964. That was when it got out in the media, when he was hanging around with Malcolm X. And the promoter, Bill McDonald, at the first Liston fight, at the Miami Beach Convention Centre, he actually called Ali in and said,
"Didn't want the fight to happen."
He said, basically, we've killed the gate because you're hanging around Malcolm X. And he said, listen, you were the good kid, the all-American boy, and initially, because does anyone remember? He had made a quote apparently he was elected in 1960 Olympics at 18 when a Russian tried to ask him about the freedom situation of black men in America, and he took it as an affront. He was quite patriotic still then, and he said, look here, Cummie, the USA is the best country in the world, including yours. At least I am still wrestling alligators and living in a mud hut somewhere. So, and when he got back and was feted for that comment by some of the white dignitaries in Louisville, he already started to feel ashamed of that. And then shortly after that, he started reading Muhammad Speaks newspaper and going to Muslim temple and getting involved with the Nation of Islam. Bill McDonald told him that he said you could have been the good guy. He said, but you know, if it's a choice between the black Muslims and the white mafia, they'll play for the mafia to win. So quite how Liston approximated the white mafia entirely, I'm not quite sure. But
I'm still trying to work that one out.
He was hooked up with those guys certainly quite severely, you know. So it was a bit of a standoff, even on I believe it was the day of the fight or the eve of the fight, when he said, listen, if you don't go on air on national TV and say that and renounce any association with the Black Muslims and Nation of Islam and Principle of Malcolm X, then you don't fight. Already he showed that steely adherence to principle when he said, okay, he called the promoter's bluff. In the end, the fight was a flop. I mean, imagine it being a flop today. I don't know how they... But it shows
the rematch.
The rematch was even worse.
Yeah, the rematch was worse.
But they gave a lot of free seats away in the first fight. And in the rematch, there was only 2,212 people there at an ice hockey rink in May.
It's crazy, right?
I mean, I happen to think the second fight was fixed. I don't think Ali had anything to do with it. But shortly after that, we saw Ali first got the draft call, I believe, 1965.
He got 65. Did the test. So you had to do a test then when you call you up. It's not like in the old days, well, oh man, boy, you're going in the army. No, you have to do a test. He done the test. And by scoring, he failed the test.
Apparently he got 17% out of a possible 100. Well, I think that's quite clever. I worked out there was 100 maximum score there. But I think, obviously Ali wasn't stupid, I think we all know that, but he had very little knowledge of academic procedure, because what he actually described, and I think we should give this guy a shout out too, I don't see how anybody physically, actually, this was possible for somebody. He said he finished college at 4, his high school. He'd go working for what he called the Catholic Sisters from 4 till 6. He trained with Joe Martin at the Columbia Street Gym from 6 till 8. He doesn't seem to allow any time for commuting at all. But he's so fast, I guess, right? He didn't need to go. And then he used to train, so legend has it, although this guy's been certainly largely rubbed out from the legend, he used to train and said he got his real training and real sparring down at a black-dominated gym by a guy called Fred Stoner on the east side of Liverpool.
And they've wiped out Fred Stoner.
Fred Stoner has been erased from history.
They just get rid of him. It was like a old wise man, old black wise guy who raised loads of, he even boxed pro, you know that? Right, he did. But why has Fred Stoner got so little credit? It's all part of conspiracy theory, right? You know, we'd say so, but it's a better story to know that your bike got stolen and a white policeman saved you, brought you to the boxing gym, and then they was on Tomorrow's Champions.
Yeah.
All right, he started to box on that show.
That footage. Ali boxed on his first fight with a kid called Ronnie O'Keefe when he was 12 years old. Was filmed by a local cable station called Tomorrow's Champions. I'm guessing it was that era when they used to get rid of footage and delete stuff.
Yeah, most probably.
You know, which is quite tragic, isn't it? You know, because that was a popular show in the Kentucky state area.
It was massive.
But in any case, so I'm trying to be vaguely chronological about Ali and the whole story and what it means to so many of us. Now, where are we up to? Liston rematch. After that,
Liston rematch.
We start seeing.
Liston rematch had 7,500 people there, right? It was
even less.
No, 2,500. 2,500.
2,212, I believe.
It was terrible.
And 3 of them jibbed in. Right?
Yeah. Simon was there then. He made a time machine.
Yeah, exactly. So no, but so suddenly we've got this extraordinary situation where you've got this very politicised global superstar who suddenly he's not even staying out of
You forgot he got married within that time. He
got married to Sonji Roy and in a Muslim ceremony in Africa.
Yep.
And that is. There's a funny little situation when I think when he went on the road he became less angry like Malcolm X did, because it was so easy to feel all that kind of near hatred towards the white establishment when you lived in those American ghettos. Not that I ever did. Well, I did once.
You did, right.
But it was a bit different by then.
Yeah, the afro and everything.
But I think when he went travelling and met Muslims of other creeds, perhaps Asians as well, he became a little bit more. Let's be honest about it, we don't want to whitewash the men. Some people are of the view that Ali had embraced a gang of lunatics in the Nation of Islam, and he wasn't for civil rights, just like in the way Martin Luther King was, and he wasn't for the counterculture, and he wasn't for women's rights. Ali did say a number of extremely crass things in certain times in his life about gender and race.
But let's put that in perspective with the time.
Of course.
I'm seeing. So where are you from, sir?
Me?
Yes, sir.
I've been living here since 74.
74.
I'm from Trinidad originally.
From Trinidad, right. So from 74, so you can see like, and the person beside you, you can see like of your age, it was a different world then.
Yes.
Right? It was a way different world then. So it'd be quite easy for someone to be impressed or enthralled by anything that the Nation of Islam brought to you. to say that right, or anything.
There was a famous correspondent who said, "I'm only half joking when I think if I'd have wanted to convert to Judaism at the time, I could have done it."
I've read that.
Yeah.
Now you have to think of that time there. At that time there, look, we're living in we're saying Gary Logan. We just spoke about you, Gary Logan. You know what I mean? Ladies and gentlemen, Gary Logan, former, was it 3-time Southern Air champion? Why are we here for Gary Logan? Right?
At least things in the shade, really.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah.
Of that time, how it was for Ali was nothing to do with the civil rights movement.
He wasn't.
He didn't want nothing to do with the civil rights movement.
It's a lazy description because he was more radical than that at the time. And then he later, but then at the same time, you've got this funny kind of dichotomy in the fact that one of his most trusted aides in boxing was a white Italian.
Yep. His doctor was a
doctor. And the guys like Gene Kilroy had around him. Gene Kilroy,
very close to him.
Gene Kilroy once famously referred to him as the spitting image of courage, and said that it was a wonder that when you look at all the people who were shot in the 60s, radical black figures, it's almost a wonder that God in his wisdom didn't take him, you know. So we get this strange situation where Ali can't even get a fight in America, but he's embraced in Europe, so he fights Mildenberger. Nice story when he fought Mildenberger, the referee lost his money.
Yeah, it was kind of, it's like that. Have you seen that fight? Have you seen the Carl Mildenberger fight?
Yeah.
Right. Have you seen it, right? Wasn't that like one of Ali's worst performances?
Yeah, he struggled with that German southpaw.
He did, and like people say because of southpaw. Remember, like in our old boxing gymnasium, we have the picture of him fighting Carl Mildenberger. And Mildenberger was a southpaw. Ali just thought, I'm going to go in there and just knock him out. And he was dancing the wrong way. You know when you're fighting southpaws?
Going to the right.
He was going to the right. And like Gary Logan will tell you, the guy can fight. You know, trust me. He can fight. That left hook, Gary. There you go. That left hook, Gary. He was moving the completely wrong way. When you're fighting southpaw, your main objective, their power shots, their left hand. So and Ali was actually moving into his right, moving into the big left hand all the time, and he's getting caught with it. And he looked sloppy in that fight. He didn't look like, oh, well, it was incredible. It's weird that Steve Locke, who works with Mike Tyson, you saw on, was it Fighters Inc? Is it Fighters Inc Corporation? Yeah, he owns all the old film footage and stuff like that. He was saying like Ali had some terrible fights, and we go back, you look, oh, you did really look too impressive
in that same era. You look at the performances against Laura Foley. Cleveland Williams, the most iconic one. And you look at the Cleveland Williams fight in particular, and the Early Terrell fight too.
The Cleveland Williams fight was 66, right? November 66.
With the use of Estradiol.
Yeah. In that fight there, we'd say that was the best Ali you've ever seen.
That was the best heavyweight we've ever seen. The best heavyweight we've ever seen.
That was incredible.
Even though his legacy was truly cemented in the 70s, and he wouldn't be regarded perhaps as the greatest heavyweight ever lived without that 17 incarnation from a purely fistic analytical point of view. That was it, because he had the men's strength and the brilliance still that wasn't blunted by the 3.5 years exile. When we talk about the 3.5 years exile, it's been well documented what it was down to, and that he refused to be conscripted into the United States Army to go and partake in the Vietnam War. I think people know that anybody that big and famous and wealthy is not used and put on the front line, but they're used as a figurehead. So any idea that it was a cowardly move, of course I've always believed since I was a little boy, and I do today, this day now, that it was a much braver thing to do, not to go. There are certain people...
The same thing, right, James Brown. Frankie 7, right? He's Charlotte. Frankie 7. This guy's really good little amateur kid, right? Little Frankie can fight. Check this one. If someone said to you, all right, you've got to send your son to war. He's 17 now. He's got to go to war in Iraq. Would you go? Would you send him? Right. Now, why would you think of any way like a man of colour living in the condition that he was living in would say that he's going to go, forget about Nation of Islam.
The other thing somebody raised just last night was, how come he was the only prominent American sports star in the world at that time
that they picked to go? Yeah, I know.
Literally,
Jim Brown was the ox.
What about Jim Brown?
Yeah.
What about maybe Joe Namath?
None of these guys.
What about Jerry Collins, Joe Frazier? So,
they'd have bumped him. If it went, they'd have bumped him. They'd have got rid of him.
Consequently, he gets frozen out. It's been well documented. His last 9th title defence of the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world, none of that rubbish today, fragmented titles, was against Zora Foley, 7th round stoppage, and then he spent 3 years in the wilderness.
With the overhand, right?
Yeah, and then steps around him.
Steps around him.
Kind of cool. And then, so at that point, Ali spends 3.5 years in exile. I think it's been well documented, and it didn't look like he was ever fighting again. I believe he actually tried to get. He said that in his autobiography, it's alleged that there were 72 failed attempts to get in a fight during that period of time. History will show that the ban was eventually lifted, and he came back against Jerry Quarry. At that point, he was probably about as big as anybody else in the world, but the difference was suddenly he had a white radicals crowd following him. He had the glamour crowd,
the hippie crowd,
and the hippie. Like, as I say, he united everybody except the most staunchest, ideologically unsound of conservatives, who would have
Like Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, indeed. Exactly. Yeah, so, but think of this too. I mean, David Hyde just comes back, and I know Gary got a relationship with him. He comes back, he fights Mark Demori, and that guy's name I can't even remember.
Yeah, right, him, right?
Yeah.
Check this one out.
Ali fights Jerry Quarry, top contender.
Who was, who was number 2 contender. Oscar Bonavina.
And that was a life and death struggle. That was a dogfight.
It was a hard fight.
And then he fights Joe Frazier in the epic, still remains the biggest fight of all time, the fight of the century. And he loses, and he did lose it, but he loses with heroism to the point where he was almost uplifted and even more popular in defeat. James Brown. It was a tear-jerking performance, and fair play to Fraser for winning the biggest fight of all time. How crazy is it to think of now, in today's boxing landscape, he didn't get another title shot for 3.5 years, not even another title shot. He went on the road and fought everybody around. Matt Foster, Bob Foster.
Good fighters. We know Bob Foster knocked down Ali in sparring. Do you know that?
Somebody tried to tell me that.
No, he did. 100%. I've even got Ali on. He knocked him down in sparring prior to him going. Prior to him going to Rome Olympics, they were sparring and Bob Foster knocked him down with a right hand. Yeah, no disgrace.
No, he could fight.
So that's why when they fought each other, that was a selling point. I knocked you down before, I can do it again.
And he didn't look like.
No, he didn't come nowhere close.
People will remember the kind of false leg staggering thing he was doing. He almost had Brett Scotteridge film. He drew a bit of blood, which nobody else ever did. No. So because I know certain people have got to shoot at some point, like Ben Gray, I want to try and wrap this up. I've got so much to say about him, but having, you know, probably while the Fraser fight was the biggest fight of all time, arguably the most iconic fight of all time was the Rumble in the Jungle, when he comes in once again.
October 1974.
October the 29th or 30th, depending which country you're in.
Yeah, I know.
International date night it's called. I was in England, but I think the winner. Yeah.
I was in Africa, man.
I was 4 years old, but I wasn't aware of it. I was 4 years old, but I was aware of the fight.
You were 6.
So you were aware of it in Bruton family, right? And
I wasn't. I just remember my dad almost having it out.
Turn on the wireless.
All his mates thought Foreman was going to knock Ali out.
like
Everybody
People
did.
that loved Ali. They all thought, do you remember? So the man that doesn't really know boxing, they see Kenny Evans break the door, they see John
Fraser beats
knock
him.
him over, and give him life and death. Again,
And he annihilates them fellas.
And this guy Foreman just annihilates them. So
It's triangle theory doesn't
you don't
work in
understand-
boxing necessarily,
At that age, you're not going to understand styles make fights.
exactly. And
Even
so,
if you did, you're scared. You're scared.
and I always remember Norman Mailer saying that why do we root for Ali? Him and George Clinton. He said, why is it? And he said, ultimately because Ali represents a victory for everything that doesn't fit into the computer, and that was what he represented. He was. I always remember a great quote from Hunter S. Thompson when he talked about him being a child of women, rather capricious emotionally. He said 1 minute when he was around him, covering him and spending time with him, he said 1 minute he's in the back of a limo, a blacked out limo with a hood over, a blanket over his head and a catatonic funk. Next corner he's playing stickball with junkies on the corner in the Bronx. You know, and there was a video I recently posted on Facebook, and a few people also posted it, where you see Ali in 1980 ahead of time when he's about to come back. He's going to fight Larry Holmes, but he actually starts telling people he's fighting John Tate at the time. And he literally stops and talks to every single. Yeah, that would have been a
big title.
He might have even won that. Yeah. So yeah, and he literally he stops and talks to everybody, signs everything, kisses every woman there, every child, and it takes him 11 minutes to get a few feet down the street because he's talking to everybody. Now, when you think I'm not nothing against Floyd Mayweather or anybody else, but
Come on, let's be.
But there's Ali and there's the rest, right? You know, and I'm going to let Spencer say a few more things as well, but I just sort of finish with a metaphor I got of Ali. There's so many apocryphal tales about the man and so much mythology, it's difficult to separate fact from fiction. I don't have I'm doing the rap. Okay, but I don't believe he ever threw the medal away, for instance. I think there's too much evidence that he just lost it in actual fact, believe it or not. But it's a great story, isn't it? It's a great symbolist story. But I like to think this one is true. When he's getting ready to fight Jerry Quarry in October 29th, 1970 in Atlanta, and he's still getting death threats at this point. People forget these days, or perhaps they never even knew, but he's still getting death threats, and there's still plenty of opposition who don't think he should have been licensed in the first place. He's still a draft dodger. He's still a draft dodging N-word to a large section of America at that point, right? Now, at some point amongst the hate mail, somebody sent him a box with a little black boxer doll with a noose around his neck. Now, what Ali has reputedly reportedly done is just simply taken the noose off, given it to one of his daughters as a toy, and said, not a bad likeness, but not as pretty as me. Now, if that is not the greatest, most touching, most amazing metaphor for turning hatred and stupidity into love, optimism and strength, then I don't know what is. Thanks, fellas.
Well done. Very good.
So you want the rap, right? And
I want the rap.
Can you have a bit of prayer after that?
Yeah, I want the rap.
I wanted to do that, you know. I wanted to do this with Darren Hamilton because we do a good double act together, but Darren doesn't seem to be getting a signal on his phone for the last 2 days, so I'll do it on my own. This is the legend of Muhammad Ali, the greatest fighter there ever will be. King of all heavyweights, give him that much. If you disagree, then you speak double Dutch. Ali's got a left, Ali's got a right. If he hits you once, you'll be out for a night. To hell with the rumours they call Phantom Punch. He'd eat Klitschko's for breakfast and Tyson for lunch. A bicycle stolen gave rise to the tale of the prettiest fighter, the ultimate male. His act is impossible, people take heed, you might get arrested for dealing in speed. Terrell was bamboozled and Liston got psyched, and Big George got weary and said he was spiked. Come on, Mr. Glue Machine, don't be a dope, you lost because a genius stayed on the ropes. And smoking your last 2 times out of 3. Get lost with that rumour, are you kidding me? The greatest would quit and retire on his stool? Don't ever you question the size of them jewels. The torch in Atlanta brought tears to all eyes, the king of the world and his tragic demise. But that wasn't it, because the colour don't fit. The butterfly bee was just stoic and wise. He came and he conquered, whatever you say. Little Floyd, TVE? No, it's Ali all day.
Brilliant. It's going really quick, because like, Ben's gave you the history of Ali. Now I'm going around to everyone here. I'm going to ask you what Ali meant to you. Now I know what he meant to me because I know for a fact that I didn't become a Southern Area champion. Gary make sure I didn't become a Southern Area champion. Let's kill Gary Logan. Gary, but
listen, he wasn't the only one. What are you going to suck him out for?
No, but because he's the only one here. But he solidified what it meant to me to be a champion, to walk like a champion, to be proud of who you were. Now I'm not saying like proud like on a colour thing, because like before, like we weren't used to growing up 70s or 80s. We weren't used to seeing a black person talk the way that he spoke. Do you understand? A black person that made you want to say, burn the establishment down.
He was the first rapper too.
First rapper, and that's been KRS-One stated this recently. Chuck Lee from Public Enemy stated this. He was the first rapper, and he popularized and globalized being cool for a black person. Right? He made when you saw Muhammad Ali, Ben was square down. Like I'm born black. I can't escape it. Ben wanted to be black because of Muhammad Ali.
How many denial so I didn't even use sunscreen?
Exactly. Remember that? There used to be sunbathing and everything. You know? So therefore, when you look at this man, when we say that he transcended colour, David Bowie died the other day. We say that David Bowie transcended colour, and he was married to a black woman.
Gender.
Right, literally, right? But you got to think about it. What Muhammad Ali transcended human beings. Let's not break it down to colour, because it's so easy to do. He transcended human beings because this is how it goes in life. People are gonna hate you. They're gonna hate you. It usually takes 10 years for them to realise what you're saying was right. In the 10 years hiatus where we hated Ali, Clash of Clay then turned out Muhammad Ali, he was still relevant, and he was benign, and he was whooping ass. Now, it's alright when you think about, well, how do you do this? You think about on certain things, well, how did they do it? Up to now, people say, how did Muhammad Ali beat George Foreman? Work that one out. How did he beat George Foreman? This big, bad monster, this muscle-bound freak, this man who was nicknamed the mummy, could knock out people. How did he manage to do that? And he did that, and he was saying, like, I did this, thank you, Ben. I did this through Almighty Allah, through God. Now check this one out. I don't care what you want to call God, right? I don't care, because this is the thing. You're not going to trap me in religious context for me to divide us up as who we are as human beings, because I know this part here is that the earth spins on its axis 1,037 and 3/4 miles an hour, and within that time, in those 23 hours, 56 seconds, 56 minutes and 46 seconds, it makes one complete rotation on itself. Nobody escapes the rotation of the sun. Nobody escapes the rotation of the world. Nobody escapes the rotation of the moon. Nobody escapes the fact that within you right now, you've got 70% water. Within you, got 70% water. You've got 70% water. Everyone's got 70% water. Everyone's got 30% bone and tissue. Everyone has. We cannot escape it.
Some of them can swim.
Yeah, someone can. Yeah. Hi, you're a funny guy. Can you swim, guy? Can you swim? You can swim. He's in the Tarzan movies. How you make the white man beat you up? What's that? Right. So we got to think about it. No, but think about this. This is what I'm learning to think about. On the more that I think about Muhammad Ali, this guy to me was like. Who's read The Secret here? Anyone read The Secret? Yeah. I know you've read The Secret. You've read it. I know you got that secret kind of look. Yes, I read it. Yes, you've read it. Right, you got to think about this now. We believe that anything that you put after I am, you become. What was Ali greatness? What was he stating to everybody? He said, I am the greatest.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I am the greatest. Now you have to think about it. We know like the real greatest is the creator of the universe, heaven and the earth, and all the rest of it. But Ali was the one that proclaimed this. And when he said like, I am the greatest, he was making positive affirmation. Positive affirmation. Loads of us don't do this positive affirmation. When we wake up, right, you gotta think about it, right? The positive affirmation is the most key structure in any human being's life. But we don't do it. We fight ourselves down now. We break ourselves down. You gotta think what Ali was going through at the time when he was going through what he's going through. You gotta think, someone's offering you millions and millions of dollars. I'm saying, name me one sports star today, right? Today, in the social media climate that we're living in, one sports star that would say, for my beliefs, I'm not doing something. I'm gonna turn against the establishment, I'm not doing it. Name me one. Go on, I'll give you half an hour, 20. You won't even find me not one. Could you imagine? Who's the biggest sports star right now? Highest paid sports star. Michael Jordan. Forget him, he's retired. But
nah, man, he's making corn.
Right, he's making corn.
Huge.
Yeah, right. You
more
got think.
corn than anybody else.
Messi. Ronaldo.
LeBron James.
Ronaldo. Keep on naming
Floyd Mayweather.
Right, they don't have, they don't. They're right, they're sports stars. This is what I'm trying to say. Muhammad Ali touched people. He touched you. And when he touched people, black people, white people, Asian people. When he became Muslim, even more so. When he became a Muslim, even more so they touched him because he popularized Islam as well. But I can't stand them Muslim, but he's alright. It's one of them ones there, right? This is the greatness of the man. So when I think about Muhammad Ali and what he did for me, I'm telling you now, everything that's happening to me right now, I know for a fact that I wouldn't be doing it if that man wasn't relevant and wasn't prevalent in my life. I know this for a fact. Because how he stood up, and when you're looking at someone like him do it in that time as well, you say, well, I can do it. And it didn't just affect me as a black kid, it affected everyone.
There's a nice quote from Hunter S. Thompson, the writer from Fearon Ben Doughty in Las Vegas, when he says, my life would have been cheaper, duller and poorer without Ali around to crank me up for these last 20 years. He said he came and he conquered, he came and he saw, and if he didn't entirely conquer it, came as close as anybody in his doomed generation.
Right, and that's amazing. Muhammad Ali stated that the rent that we pay on earth is service. It's service. It's servitude. You have to realize that's the rent that you're paying for the time that you're here is service. How you affect somebody. Now it's so easy, like you think about it. When we wake up in the mornings, your brain works at 10 to 20 wave cycles a second. That's what it works at. Anything of you making within that time will bring you people, circumstances, situation, your mindset. This is what happens. This is what I'm telling you this now because I've studied it. Now you think about it, you wake up in the morning as a guy, you get up, you want to go to the toilet, you bang your toe, you're screaming, you hurt your toe, then you're trying to take a pee, you're peeing all over the place. Then you say, my day's gonna be shit. My day's gonna be rubbish. I guarantee you, your day's not gonna complete. It's not gonna be rubbish. But you make the affirmation when you wake up in the morning. First 10 minutes is so important. The first 10 to 20 minutes, what you put in your mind. Yeah, right. I'm telling you this now because I'm living it. I'm living, breathing proof of it. The things that you put in your mind in the first 20 minutes. Hence why us Muslims now, when we wake up in the morning, what do? First thing we do, you pray Fajr. So therefore, we got God on our mind straight away. First thing that you do, you have to put a positive thing, a positive spin on your morning, on your life, on the first thing when you wake up. And as soon as you start doing that, I guarantee you're gonna see it be prevalent in your life. You're gonna start seeing things start to happen. You say, why is this happening to me? It started to happen. Why? Because in our minds right now, we have 100 billion brain cells. That's a lot of brain cells. Every brain cell is worked on a circular motion. So on a circular motion, anything on a spinning object, I know Gary knows, I know you study science. And anything on a spinning motion, you have two forces. One called centrifugal and one called centripetal. Centripetal force is that spins, repels and draws things to it. Centrifugal or centrifugal force is that spins and throws things out there. Anything that you put in your mind, anything will give you people, circumstances, situations. Anything that's on your mind. You think weak thoughts, I guarantee you're going to attract weak people. You think strong thoughts, right now, through Ben on his Facebook, put something out, you've got a little gathering. That's a big thing. Why? Because it starts first, anything you want first starts on your mind.
And it started out as Ali and turned into Spencer Smith.
Right. So I'm saying to you, no, but this is what I learned from Ali. But this is what I learned, right? This is what I learned from Ali. Ali's the one that said to me, right, you got to stand up and be proud. Now you have to stand up and be proud. And if the whole world is for you, but the Almighty God is against you, you're not going to succeed. And if God is for you and the whole world is against you, you will succeed. This is how it works. So I'm saying this.
Well, he said, I'm not worried about the world and what they say, I'm God controls the universe.
Remember the lady said to him, she said to him, I think it's really bad the things that in 1977, in 1967, sorry. Then he said, that lady came to him and said, Ali, I think it's really bad what you're doing about the draft and everything. I work for the government. And he replied to her, well, I work for God. It's as simple as that. I'm saying to everyone, just be positive. When I think about Ali's gone, Ali ain't gone nowhere. Because it's going to be in your heart.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Now,
if anything, I've got a sense of relief about it because I was getting
increasingly
less fond of that mummified figure that would get trotted out. And not what anyone tried to tell me about how he was so well preserved inside. I wasn't buying that. I don't think he didn't look like he knew what day of the week it was.
That's the truth.
And I feel now we can really, all we can remember as this bright, beautiful brilliance of his zenith. Well, I'll give you another little quote. I'll give you another little quote from Norman Mailer, who wrote the book about the Foreman fight. When he said, it goes something along the lines of, he's obviously, the first chapter says, there is always a shock in seeing him again. Women draw an audible breath, men look at their shoes, reminded of their lack of worth, the relative lack of worth. He said, because Muhammad Ali is the Prince of Heaven, so says the silence around his body when he is luminous. And on such occasions, our most beautiful athletes in danger of becoming the world's most beautiful men. And the vocabulary of camp is doomed to appear. More or less.
Beautiful, right? Beautiful. Now we're going to go around for how long lady, how you know? Exactly. Right. That's right. So we started. That's one piece of Muhammad Ali. What did Muhammad Ali mean to you, sir?
I think there was a time when he was questioned about being a Muslim, and someone said, how do you feel about the 9/11 bombers sharing your religion? He said, how do you feel about Adolf Hitler sharing your religion?
Yeah, exactly.
Listen, blaming all Muslims for that is like blaming all musicians for Justin Bieber.
Did you hear that bit on the photograph what it said? Everything like it's black cat, black cat, black cat.
Yeah, exactly. Angel food cake is a white cake, devil food is a chocolate cake.
Muhammad Ali to me, growing up in the 60s, 70s, was a fabulous orator. His words meant so much to me. I consider myself a scholar. I've read a lot of history of my people, by white media, by black media. But every time I revert back to what Muhammad Ali says, I always think he's always correct. And he's always able to connect with both races or every race of people, which makes his speech more relevant. You know, the fact that it's not unique to just black people, it's for everybody.
And there are some black people I know who try to pull rank a little bit, which I won't tolerate, even when he tries to pull rank. And they say he's our idol, really though. You can't feel it the same as we can, but I'm not having that.
I have now. What do you Muhammad Ali mean to you, Gary Logan?
In a nutshell, first athlete that ever made me cry when he lost to me on speed.
Yeah, you were like that. You were only 10.
Yeah, not yet 10. Not yet 10. So, loved, and then
I don't recall being after that.
You don't understand that till why are you crying? It's only as you get older, you look back at your 10-year-old self, you realise that this man was something more than the game.
He symbolised it.
He symbolised everything.
What did Layla say? I look at my dad and I'm older than God.
Yeah, he was, and I truly believe, without getting overly spiritual, I truly believe this man was purposely sent from the gods.
Yeah.
He was sent from the gods to liberate a lot of people's minds. That's the one thing. He liberated a lot. Yeah, he was a modern day prophet. He liberated a lot of people's minds. You had a lot of guys back in the day, sort of southern sort of South America, sort of Carolina. Ali's alright. He's one of them. He's okay for a black guy because at least they still had their bigotry, but they accepted that this guy was relevant and what he was talking was true.
And I think at the time black people needed someone to aggrandise their own souls. When he said on Twitter, he was saying black is beautiful.
Especially in America. And so many black great sportsmen.
Lionising black women instead of white Hollywood stars.
Joe Louis had to toe the line to get a world heavyweight title shot. The only one that didn't was Jack Johnson, and it cost us about another 30 years before a black man could fight for a title.
He didn't even get a shot. No,
you know what I mean? So he just, up until that time, Jackie Robinson, you had Jesse Owens, none of them were allowed to speak out. None of them were allowed. And he said, what? I'm not allowed.
And Johnson never really spoke out, Jack Johnson. He just said, I'm going to do what I damn well choose. He said, I'm going to go with your women and I'm going to beat your... That's what he didn't really have.
But he didn't have any, like Ali had wouldn't say a political agenda. It was just something that he felt right about. It wasn't that he grew up and said, when I grow up, I'm going to be the greatest orator and I'm going to have a political agenda.
It was an accident to boxing.
It was a perfect storm. The Vietnam War, the kids now, these younger kids going to university, they know that this war is not justifiable. They're not idiots anymore.
How many people approve of the Vietnam War today? How many people think that was a good idea to go there?
Listen, I don't even approve of the war in Iraq, so that's
but they lost. But they lost that war as well. Right, Mr. Mohammed, what did Muhammad Ali mean to you?
Courage. You look in the dictionary, and I'm sure look for the word courage, you're going to see a picture of Ali in the ring and outside the ring, putting all his success on the line to tackle issues that most people would have shied from. He did this many times over, and for us to learn from that now, to be able to stand up for certain agendas that we feel that if we talk about, people might marginalize us because there's topics that you don't touch. He showed us that we could do that and still have some sort of success at the end of it. And that's what I've got to say. Courageous. That was the man.
Brother, what did Muhammad Ali mean to you?
Believe in yourself, stick some things up the gutters. No matter what you're going to do.
What did Ali mean to you, champ?
Something deep inside, got deep inside me. More than just a boxer. I used to go as a 10-year-old, listen to the radio. My dad, I've known in my family for someone with a really cold heart, like cold. My mum and dad died. I cried when Ali lost his speech. I cried like a baby when I went to Leicester Square Open and seen Lose to Homes live. I can't explain it. It's something inside rather than I like a sportsman. I can't even explain it. It's deep inside what I feel for Ali. I just cannot explain it.
Bible, what did Muhammad Ali mean?
For me, I came to this country when I was 8 years old. I couldn't speak a word of English.
And you still can't?
Everything. Everything was against me. Come over here, you're getting it from everyone, black, white, whatever. So for me, Muhammad Ali, the belief that I got from watching Ali and just basically looking at everyone as the same and not really seeing black, white, because when I came over here, I didn't even know what that was all about. It was almost like a blindfold was taken off my eyes. I was just, a little kid, just trying to be nice with everyone, trying to play with everyone. But certain people don't want to play with you and all this kind of nonsense, which for me, growing up, I went through that stage where, there was something I had to overcome, which was obviously that belief in yourself to be able to cross that barrier and feel like, you know what, no, I do believe in myself and I'm not having it. Do you understand what I'm saying? So for me, when it came to that, Ali, I became a fighter. Every single thing that I did was Muhammad Ali. Me right now is Muhammad Ali. And the feeling I got inside me and the passion I got inside me from watching Ali, listen, like, this is what it is, but this is who I am from watching Muhammad Ali.
You can't imagine your life without him. You can't.
I was watching everything, you just took it all in. And it was just like,
who would I be if it wasn't for Muhammad Ali?
It's just, it just wouldn't be, I wouldn't be me, I'd be someone else, definitely.
Hey brother, what did Muhammad Ali mean to you?
When I was watching, tears in my eyes and a smile on my face. There's a thing that he did, I think not just for me, but for everybody here and people all over the world, he made life just a bit better. You were a bit bigger, you were a bit braver.
In any crisis in your life, you think, what would Ali do? He wouldn't swallow it.
Made life better. That's how I feel.
Simon White, what did Muhammad Ali mean to you?
Dare to be different. In everything, in and out of the ring. When he boxed, he had a style that no one before him had. No heavyweight, they've never seen that kind of style in the ring. On your feet, fast, furious. And out of the ring, he didn't accept the norm. He questioned everything. Instead of accepting what you're told by the establishment, something's wrong in him, he said, no, that's not right. And not only did he say that's not right, he said, I'm going to do something about it. So he did perfect.
Scott Kelly,
brother, what did Muhammad Ali mean to you? I didn't even see you. Sorry, brother, I didn't even see you there, Sorry, because Simon's a big guy. What's your name? Alan. Alright, what did Muhammad Ali mean to you, brother?
I believe things really. The main thing is that belief. You said self-belief, and certainly growing up, he was the best psychologist I ever saw. It was all
few going on, but he was one of the best things. Last one.
Go on, brother.
To be honest, like words can't describe, like nothing I can say here can describe how much Muhammad Ali meant to me. The guy was just, like, as one of you said earlier, he's never gone, he's always with us. But if I could say one thing, it's the never say die attitude he had, and I carry that like in my life everywhere. When I go to the gym, at home, boxing training, everywhere. It's just that never give up, never say die attitude. I'd rather die before quit. That's it. That's right.
I would think so.
No, they'll go around.
We can't possibly swallow at this point.
Yeah,
no. It's against everybody's stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the man right there.
But what did Muhammad Ali mean to you, brother?
I think he had like a good character. He was funny, great. I can't really like describe it.
Indescribable. Stop.
Yeah, that's what he's got.
Just I've never seen him give up in anything. Like what you were saying earlier, if you vocalize something, you say it can happen every day, then you prove that it can happen. That's it.
I think a minute silence in order.
What I say? Errol, what did Muhammad Ali? You've got to get Tony as well, man. Errol, what did he...
Self-belief, believing in yourself, and like sticking through your cause, you know, like even though people tell you can't do this, like 7-1 underdog against Sonny Liston when he was the most feared guy in boxing because he's knocked out everyone. Like he believed in himself, and so Muhammad Ali mean to me like just believing in yourself, self-belief.
Tony Cisse?
He meant a lot to me growing up in Stepney, where I grew up. You know, that's where I first, moved to that area, and we lived across the road. It was National.
Were you born in Sierra Leone, yeah?
I was born in Sierra Leone, but I came here, and when it was the first area I lived in. No, South London was the first area I lived in, and then
you all went downhill from there.
I walked down there.
I should have
stayed there. But the main thing was that we lived near National Front, across the road from us, and by the side of us was National Front. So every day, my mum and my family were getting it. We were burnt out of our houses. Do you know what I mean? And the only image that I had in that day was people who spoke out, and he was the only one who spoke out. And when he spoke out, I knew that I had, a chance to be something, to be somebody. And that's why I was a fighter today. That's why I fought, because every day, since I was young, we had to fight. We fought the neighbours, we fought everybody. You know what I mean? So, for me, watching these fights and watching him speak out while he was on telly just gave me the strength to really say, listen, I'm a somebody on this planet, especially on this land, and that's what helped me. But the main thing that really stuck with me when I met him in 2001, I met him there in that hotel. We had the sports awards, and a friend of mine invited me, and Albany invited me. He just won the Olympic gold medal, and he got invited to the sports awards. And he said, right, Muhammad Ali's coming. I went, right, I'm coming. I don't know how I'm going to, you know me, I'm getting anywhere. I've got in the Buckingham Palace, I've got in everywhere. So if Muhammad Ali was coming, I knew I was getting in there. It don't matter what, And I blagged it, I went in there. And also, I blagged getting in on his table. They were all sitting there, Lennox Lewis, everyone was sitting there. I sat there and I stood there and I couldn't even say a word. I was that much, in awe of the man, you know what I mean? And it's only that I had the strength to go up into the room when they sat him up in the room to go and talk to him. By then,
Pastor Salt would have been a star.
I was amazed. I was there. I just stood there with my mouth open with all the kids, his two children which were there at the time, Ali and Anna, and everybody else. From that day, it just stuck with me. I never washed my hand for about 2 weeks. It was that the presence that he meant to me. But
let me smell your hand now.
He meant to me. I still hate washing it. But that's how much the man meant to me, and that's why I came here today, just to tell you that the man meant a lot to a lot of people who met him through the years. Lots of people met him, not many stars, but many people met him throughout in England, because he was a people's man, and he went around. When he came to England, he would go to community clubs, he would go to and see people, and make people understand that
he was a people's champion, and that's what really stuck with me today. And you know, I hope everybody really gets to understand him and don't forget him, because he was a hero in every sense, in you know, helping us, everybody, not only black people, everybody come together. So you know, I'm here today just to make sure everybody gets to know that.
I think one
little Frankie, what did Muhammad Ali mean to you, Frankie?
Well,
that's it. Inspired me.
Is a minute silence in order?
Yeah.
For anybody who's been joining us on Facebook, I'm not sure how many it is because I think I've got the camera there, but I hope you've enjoyed this little tribute. I'm really grateful to everybody for coming. Some amazing things have been said. I'm really glad we did something because we couldn't just let it pass. And I just get on planes to Louisville every time I fancy it, you know. So
we're not Chris Olko.
We're not Chris Olko. I hope Chris is doing well out there. He's representing us. Yes, but okay. So are we gonna? Is someone gonna time 60 seconds for me? Join us if you wish, Facebook. Okay. I would like to hear this from you. Who's the greatest heavyweight ever lived?
Ali!
Boombaye! Boombaye!
I shook out the wall!
Yeah, man.
Speak to you later. I said nice to meet you, mate. Yeah, in your bed. Speak to you soon.
You didn't get a chance to say nothing. Yeah, you can say it on my camera though, because it's gonna be thing. What did Ali mean to you?
Basically, I grew up in the north of England, and we didn't really see many black people around us or even on the television. So whenever he came on, it was a big thing in the household, and everybody would come together and eat food, and we would just pray to God he was the opposition.
Well, most of the time he usually did. Thanks for that, yeah. Thanks for that. Appreciate it.